everybody. So I thought before we get into the actual meat of this video, we should take a look at this because I think you might find this interesting. So this is basically explaining how the Nazis took over the German police force, as you can see on screen, 1933 till 1939. So it's very interesting because we can draw parallels between what the Nazis did to the German police to what the woke mob, the Marxists, have done to our police force in present day. And we'll just scroll down, we'll take a look at the 3 steps because I think you'll find something very, very familiar about it. So, number 1 down here, it says, see if I can highlight it. See if it'll highlight. Yeah, there we go. Right. Nazification changed the organisational structure, leadership, training and values of German police force. Now, if you swap Nazification for identity politics and Marxism, then you're looking at our present day police force. It's being restructured. They changed the structure of it so that people joining the police force had to have a degree. So you had to go to university. And what happened when you went to university? You more or less got indoctrinated into Marxist ideology, changing your values and therefore changing the police force's values to a far left Marxist viewpoint and politicising the police by doing that. So we'll go on to the second stage. Highlight this. This you'll find very interesting because this is what is happening right now with our police force. So it says the Nazis expanded police power. So what have we seen over the last few decades? We've seen the police's power being expanded, aren't we? So you can swap out the Nazi part of that for woke lefties. Woke lefties expanded police power and used the police to target people they considered their political, racial, social and criminal opponents. So we are seeing the police being used to target people they consider, the government considers to be their political enemies. You've only got to look at Tommy Robinson. Recently, Callum, if you don't know who Callum is, Callum used to be on the Lotus Eaters. I forget what his channel is called, but he was recently stopped at, I think it was Gatwick Airport, under the Terrorism Act, just like was used by Tom Robinson. It's an act that is used and abused by the police, so they can basically interrogate you with no right to silence, and they can do it without any need to have a suspicion of you committing a crime. So they can just charge you with the Terrorism Act, or detain you on suspicion of causing terrorism, in order to basically interrogate you without a right to silence or the right to have a solicitor or a lawyer in the room with you. So that's the police force being politicised and being used to target the establishment state political enemies. We've seen it happen with Tommy Robinson, we've seen it happen with Callum, we've seen it happen with countless other people. You've only got to look at the political prisoners that are in prison right now. People that have actually questioned the government have been put in prison, fast-tracked into prison, and are still in there. So the last and final stage is this one. Although the new Nazi government fired or retired many police leaders, the vast majority of German policemen kept their jobs and served in the Nazi state. So here you've got the explanation for that as well. So you've got the good police officers. They're good police officers, but they don't speak up because they want to keep their pensions. So they just keep their heads down and they just allow this stuff to happen. Don't speak up, don't disagree with what's going on. And that's what happened in Nazi Germany with many of the police officers. They didn't agree with what the Nazis were doing, but they kept their heads down and they just thought, I'm going to keep my pension. And maybe that's what's happening to some police officers in the police force. Maybe they're having the threat of their pension being taken away if they do challenge what's going on within the police force right now. And that's why many of them are staying quiet. Thousands upon thousands of police officers are quitting every day, by the way. And maybe that's because of pressure from this new regime that's taken over, this far left woke entity that's basically infiltrated our police force and made it political. That's why many police officers are leaving. So I thought that'd be quite interesting. And like I said, you can swap out the Nazi part of that for Marxism, can't you? Quite easily. And you can see the stages there and you can draw the comparisons of what's happening with our police force today just by looking at those three things there. And apparently, this bit here where it says, let's go back to this one, the first one, because I forgot to cover this bit. So let's just call it the Marxification of our police force. So they changed the organisational structure, leadership. So what have we seen recently? We've seen new police commissioners that are basically far left activists being put in positions of leadership. Look at Mark Rowley in London, quite clearly a far left nutcase when he was threatening to arrest people in America for posting memes that were mean to certain people over here. Absolutely drunk on power and retarded, in my opinion. But there you go. So I just wanted to cover that as well. So the meat of this video today is this. So this is basically a guy, he's burning a Koran. And it's because of, he tells you in the video the name of the man, I can't pronounce his name. But there was a man in Sweden, I believe, that burned a Koran, and Islamists entered his home and killed him in his home. So this is a protest to say that yes, we will criticise Islam, we will exercise our free speech and burn the Quran if we want. I want to make it quite clear that the Quran here is this man's own property. It's not somebody else's Quran, it's his. So he has a right to do anything he wants to his own property. I want to make that quite clear.
3 days ago, my friend, a man by the name of Selwa Momika, was murdered by 4 Islamic jihadists. Why did this happen, you ask? He dared to speak the truth about the dangers of Islam. He burned the Quran and was murdered for what he did. Today, I will repeat his act.
To make it perfectly clear as well, we don't have any blasphemy laws here in the UK, none whatsoever. So this is purely free speech. This man is allowed to do this. It's his own property. He can do whatever he likes with his own Quran. It's as simple as that. Right, so this is where the altercation takes place. So this man here, obviously a Muslim, is taking offence at him burning the Quran. Let's not forget this is his own property. So this man interfering is the one that's causing the altercation. He can walk straight past and not be offended. He's choosing to take offence and intervene in what this man is doing. So all the onus of everything is on him. It's not on him. He's just enacting his own free speech. This man is acting aggressively towards him, and you'll see that he does that as the video goes on.
supposed to be doing that?
As you can see, he tries to reach for his property out of this man's hand. That's assault. He just committed assault on this man. There was no need for him to get involved. Remember, offence is always taken, it's not given. So if you get offended by something, that's completely on you. Something has to happen within inside yourself. You have a choice whether to get offended by it or not get offended by it, or get offended by it and just walk on and let this man carry on with what he's doing. But this man chose not to do that. He chose to intervene and interact with this gentleman. He didn't have to. So at this point, he is the one that's causing the breach of peace, not this man. He's just exercising his free speech.
No. Leave him alone! No. Back up, pal.
See, that's the second time that he's lunged towards this gentleman. He's perfectly within his rights at this point to use self-defence. But he's been very, very calm. He's just backing away from the gentleman in a very non-provocative way. He's not going after him. He's not attacking him or anything like that. He's the one that's being the submissive one and backing off and, you know, backing away from this man, doing everything he should do. In that situation, you are perfectly within your rights to push a person back and tell them to get away from you. That is self-defence. That is reasonable force in this situation.
He has freedom of speech like everyone else. Freedom of speech. Move away from me. He has freedom of...
And let's bring this up, right, because I was going to bring this later, but let's talk about this, right. This man has every right to burn this Koran. If these people can go unchallenged week after week on these pro-Palestine marches and chant, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," which is a genocidal chant against the Jewish people, which is also a racially aggravated chant, then this gentleman should be allowed to do whatever he wants to do. And this is where we get the two-tier policing from, isn't it?
Don't like it, leave! Leave the country! What's that? If you don't like it, leave! This is your Koran! What's supposed to be doing on me? If you don't like it, you can walk away. Hold that, please.
So as you can see from the interaction, every bit of the interaction with this gentleman is aggressive. He moves over to go and attack the man's property, which is the Israeli flag. He tries to stand on it, which he's not allowed to do. That could be classed as criminal damage on somebody else's property. But none of this later on gets brought up. Again, I don't know what happened to this gentleman after he gets arrested. I don't know what happened, but we'll carry on.
Don't touch me.
You know, it's a bit rich coming from this guy saying, "Don't touch me," when he is the one that's been going after this guy and harassing him. And I hope that when the police actually see this footage, they will realise how stupid they've been by arresting this gentleman and not this gentleman, because this is the instigator. This man has done nothing to instigate against this man. He's not gone after him personally, talked to him personally, or anything like that, has he?
This is what I think of your Quran.
And the amazing thing is, right, if this was him, right, if that other gentleman was doing that, and he was on the other side of the argument, like we've seen in London, where we've seen Maya Tusi's reporter, where he carries the Hamas or terrorist sign, remember that? He's getting offended about what the pro-Palestine marchers are doing, yet he is the one that gets arrested and not the pro-Palestine marchers every single time, even though they're chanting "from the river to the sea." So again, it's more evidence of two-tier policing when a certain demographic is involved. Sorry, it's lagging. I can't help it. I think it's just YouTube. just to clear that up as well, he has every right to say that as well. We are allowed to criticise religions in this society. Just want to make that clear. We're allowed to do that. There's no blasphemy laws or anything. We see constantly people criticising Christianity, but then we don't see levels of arrests like this. We see street preachers, Christian street preachers, being harassed by the police, don't we? We don't see imams or anybody else getting harassed in the street for saying what they say.
This verse talks about that. There we go. Thank you for saying that, guys.
So that was it. He did his protest, and then he just peacefully walked off. And then what happens next is just unbelievable.
Army Israel, hard! Is that on the video, mate? Have you got it? Yeah, I got you on the video, yeah. You do realise this is Great Britain though, don't you? What are you doing?
So now, the man from earlier, who was harassing the man while he was doing his protest, runs off to the police in order to snitch on the man about him burning a Koran. And watch what happens. And more importantly, take note the ethnicity of the two police officers.
Stay there, please, mate. Yeah. You got have on the video. You got have it on the video.
I find this amazing, this next bit,
He thinks he's living in fucking...
because they don't investigate. The police officers don't investigate what's happened, which is what they should do before they make any decision about whether this man's guilty or not. They don't do anything like that. Right, so they've just gone up and arrested that man without doing any investigation about what's happened. So instead of just saying, we're detaining you while we conduct our investigation, they just walk up and arrest that man. And the ethnicity of these two people that have arrested him, they look very, very Middle Eastern to me, and I would be questioning what their actual religion was in this situation. Because usually a police officer, if an altercation has taken place, I know this from being a security officer, if there's been a fight in town or whatever, they don't arrest the people straight away. They try to establish what's actually happened first before they arrest the person. That's what they do. They don't just take the person who's come up and made a complaint on his word. They investigate if it's true what he's actually said. So at this point, they've not seen the video. They've not seen the man in question going up to this man and harassing him while he's doing his peaceful protest out in the open. He's not doing anything to anybody. He's just burning his own property, which he's perfectly allowed to do in this country. He's perfectly allowed to question religion in this country. We don't have blasphemy laws or anything like that. Yet these two numpties just went straight up and arrested him for no reason, without doing an investigation or anything.
I am completely relaxed. Sorry, Paul.
What? You good, what?
So about the Koran.
The Koran.
Yeah.
The Koran.
What is your name for the public? Can you stop twisting? You're really hurting. There's the snitch.
I was thinking about the expression.
I said there's the snitch.
Did you say a snitch?
Snitch.
Well, you told me a snitch. What are you calling a snitch for?
There's the
You're a
snitch.
snitch.
There's the snitch.
You're an insect, mate.
Calling the police.
You're an insect. You're an insect, mate. You're a pet.
I'm a what?
Yeah.
What am I? You know this is Great Britain, don't you? Still Great Britain.
Police station.
My left hand is going numb.
You wouldn't see a fast response like this from the police if your home was being burgled or you were in the middle of a home invasion. But if somebody burns a Koran, oh no, we've got to send 30 police officers to go and sort that situation out. Everybody's so eager to virtue signal, and this is what I was saying earlier in the video about the police being politicised and a certain ideology taking over the identity politics and stuff like the two-tier policing, where one group of people is treated completely different to another group of people. What would happen if that was Muslims burning a Bible? Do you really think that the Christian preacher would get a similar response to these gentlemen arresting this man? They wouldn't, would they? We know deep down it wouldn't happen at all. More than likely that the street preacher who went up and complained would be the one that they arrested. That's how twisted and turned around our society has become. See if this is going to buffer and play. I'm sorry for the shitty video quality.
Move back for us. Move back, please.
Move back? What are you on about, move back? They're not on the road, they're on the pavement, you morons. They're nowhere near your police car, so why are you telling them to move back, you muppet? This is how unprofessional our police are. Please move back from... They're reporters anyway. They can see they're reporters. They're taking photographs, which they're perfectly allowed to do in public. They're nowhere near the police car. Absolute muppets.
Mate, just wait there for me 1 second, yeah? Just move back.
It looks like he's in pain, buddy.
It's not in pain at all. It's absolutely fine.
Excuse me, fella, are you in pain? Are you in pain?
Just want to ask the ethnicity of this man and those two police officers down there, because they look suspiciously Asian to me. When I say Asian, I mean Middle Eastern. It's just very, very suspect about how this man can be arrested without any investigation about what's happened, with his face up against a police car. Like I said, I've been in situations myself where the police haven't arrested the two people straight away. They've conducted an investigation to find out what actually happened. So what they would normally do is, if it happened outside my venue, they would come in and say, right mate, have you got some CCTV footage we can look at to see what actually happened, and establish a chain of events before they jump to conclusions and make an arrest for somebody. Normally, if they don't know what's gone on, they will arrest both people to establish the facts back at the police station. Not just one person and let the other guy walk off. To me, this seems a little bit set up to me. The way these people arrived so quickly and the way that man went in and stirred up trouble. It was almost like it was staged, like it was designed to stir up trouble just to give these guys an excuse to arrest him. That's what it looks like to me. Anyway. Right, I'm going to leave it there. This is Vindicator signing off. Tell me what you think about this situation down in the comments. I shall see you in the next video.